If you could all take your seats, please. I will call this Waupaca County Board of Supervisors meeting to order today and this Tuesday, September 23rd. Please press your roll call buttons.
Terry? 25 members present, 2 excused.
That would be Mr. Kussman and Mr. Asen. Clerk Robbins, has the open meeting statement been
Yes.
done?
Yes, and you do have a new agenda on your desk, but it was posted and put out online prior to, I just didn't remail it to you. And that was just adding one more report to the reports, according to our chairman.
Good. How about our seeing our vice chair here today? Way to go, Gary. Good to see you, buddy.
Thank you.
Okay, then we stand for the moment of silence. I just want to ask everyone to remember those of our county family that are challenges with some health challenges and maybe other challenges. Please keep them in mind in their thoughts and prayers at this moment. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'd like to have a motion to approve the set agenda. Is there a motion? There's a motion by Mr. Hendrick and a second by Mr. Federich to approve the agenda. Any questions or any comments? Please vote.
Last chance to vote. Motion carries 25-0.
Likewise, the minutes that have been mailed to you and you've went over, there's a motion by Mr. Ellis.
Actually, it's a correction.
Okay,
Page 10,
page 10.
August 2014, not 2015.
So noted. Thank you, Mr. Ellis. With that correction, is there a motion for approval? The motion by Mr. Zog. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Owen. Any other questions or discussion? Please vote.
Last chance. Motion carries 25-0 as corrected.
Mr. Fowle, if you'd like to come up to the podium, please. This morning, we're honored to have, I can call a good friend of mine, Mr. Eric Fowle, the Executive Director of East Central Wisconsin Regional Planning. I've spent a number of years with Mr. Fowle on his board of directors. He came on board with East Central in about 2005. The East Central Regional Planning was in dire straits at that time. We were deep in red. And I've seen what Mr. Fowle has done with East Central Regional Planning, bringing it to the black and having a great working organization over at Menasha. It's been an honor to work with him. And he's here today to remind we veteran supervisors of all that East Central Regional does and what it stands for, and of course you new supervisors, to introduce to you what East Central Regional Planning does, and also to meet Mr. Fowle. So with that, welcome aboard, Eric.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Best introduction I've left hat. I should have taken that. Morning, everyone, and a beautiful one it is. I hope we have more of these days left. My apologies, first of all, for not being here at your last meeting. I was on your agenda, but I had a case of user error with my calendar, and unfortunately, the 10-minute warning didn't give me enough time to get here. But I heard you had a long meeting, and I'm glad I wasn't part of that, at least. So we'll try and keep things fairly brief, but I know we've got a few new folks in the audience here today, and even after working for regional planning commissions for about 20 years, it's something that's still a little difficult to explain, but we're basically a quasi-governmental organization created back in 1972 by executive order of the governor. There's 9 RPCs within the state. There's a small handful of counties around Dane that are not part of any regional planning commission. But we are a membership-based organization, and we have 7 member counties out of a 10-county region. And each of those counties, if they want the services for East Central, are required to pay dues or a levy. And we try and keep that to about roughly 30% of our total budget, but it's an important component because it allows us to use those dollars as local matches for state and federal grant programs and other things, where we basically turn those local dollars into about anywhere from an $8 to $10 for every dollar we get locally to do additional planning within the region. In front of you, I had put a copy of a small report, a groundwater report, but inside the front cover, there is a short 2-page summary sheet of our annual report. I believe everyone late in the spring should have gotten a copy of this larger document, and I dispense with bringing extra copies for you today, figuring you've all had it and should have had plenty of time to review it in detail by now, I hope. But I want to hit some highlights on that and certainly open it up for any questions or discussion that you might have. Over on the left-hand column, just a listing of some facts. Our member counties, we've had 7 of them since our inception. A couple of counties have come in and out over the years. Back in the 70s and 80s, we had some drop out. I'm pleased to say that all indications at this point are that Fond du Lac County is likely to join for next year. They dropped out back in the mid-'80s, and there's been some changes on their board and some perspective, and they think they can capitalize on some of the services we offer. It's not a done deal yet, but I'm hopeful, and like I said, all indications are there. The additional levy money that we're likely to receive through that, unfortunately, isn't just going to automatically reduce all the other members' levies. We're going to have a new client, lots of new clients with their communities and high expectations, so it's likely we'll have to take those dollars and hire an additional staff person, so we've got the capacity to deal with that. If you happen to bump into any colleagues from Fond du Lac County in the next month or two, and assuming you're a supporter of us, give them a little elbow and encourage them. So we'll see what happens there. Each county is represented by a number of commissioners, a minimum of 3. On the maximum end, some of the counties have up to 6 commissioners. We've got your chairman, Dick Keppen, who has been one of our biggest supporters and most vocal, and we really appreciate his involvement. We know he's a busy guy, but he makes the time when he's able to interact with us. Mr. Gary Barrington, we're glad to see you here today, of course, and Dwayne Federwitz as the governor's appointment. The governor appoints one person based on selections of the county board when those terms expire. The levy that we had set for Waupaca County for 2015 is listed along with a little bit of historical information. That levy used to be, I think, up closer in the $70,000 range when I had taken over, and we've been successful at reducing that amount generally over the years. Our steering committee took the approach of having a stable or relatively unchanged total levy of about $692,000. When you look at apportioning it out on changes in equalized value, unfortunately, we've got about $100 or so increase for Waupaca County for next year. I hope that doesn't break the budget. So we'll see what happens there. But we do want to keep that stable. We've been very successful. I've been very proud of my staff. I'll be the first to admit I can't do this alone. I rely a lot on our staff of 21 folks to do a lot of the work and help me to look good, and they do a great job there. For the last 9 years in a row, we've been successful at getting at least one statewide or national recognition or award each year. This year we had gotten an American Planning Association award for work that we did in the village of Kimberly on the redevelopment of the old New Page paper mill site, and a plan that we had developed and the process we developed. The reason I mention that here is not only we're proud of that, but we've been taking that model that we've used there and kind of taking it on the road and helping a number of communities, including currently working with the city of Waupaca on kind of reimagining their downtown and working with an appointed committee to evaluate downtown and really look at what changes could be made with a pending construction project for redoing Main Street in a few years. They recognize that that street and what that looks like is really going to change or shape the character of downtown. And of course, we're expanding on that to look at other opportunities to revitalize and maintain that downtown. It's, in my mind, one of the nicest, most intact ones we have within our region. So you'll see results from that hopefully in the coming months if you're interested. The Commission plays a number of fairly standard roles within the region. We've done these things for decades. We are an EDA, Designated Economic Development District. So if any community has a project and they want to try and get some grant dollars from EDA, they really must come through us as the Regional Planning Commission, and we'll assist in any applications and seeing if the project is suitable and fits. We haven't had a lot of success or a lot of projects within Waupaca County over the years, but we have been able to bring the county in a number of broad projects, planning projects that we had funded by EDA, including the creation of a global trade strategy for the region, the 18-county New North region, which they now in turn have made more of a formal program under New North, and that effort is really to help small to medium-sized businesses in the counties look at the advantages of going global in terms of the marketplace and their products. And it'll take a few years here, but I think we're going to have some success in that area. We also assist communities in a number of projects under economic development. It could be as simple as creating marketing and fact sheets materials. We have been working with a number of stakeholders in the city to craft a separate economic development strategy with the committee, along with WEDC, county staff, and others engaged in that. So economic development is one of those key areas, and I just urge you all to remember that we're out there, and if there is a project, a public project that's going to facilitate private investment, do give us a call, and we'll help kind of guide through the process and see if there's monies available. Environmental management has been a long-standing program as well. In front of you, the document regarding groundwater is something that's hot off the press. This was the second phase of this project, and we used some of the local levy money to basically fill an information gap within our region. When we did our regional comprehensive plan in 2008, we recognized that we didn't have good data or a good picture of what the recharge to the aquifers really looked like out there, and where would you have the most impact on that in terms of development or changes of land use. So this study was done. This was the second phase that incorporated the outlying counties, and this is being, I'm actually saving postage here today by handing it out to you, but we're mailing these out to all the county supervisors, all the town, village, city clerks, key staff within the counties and communities, and I will be leaving an extra box of about 100 of these with Ryan Brown, so he can further distribute them. So if you want some more of those reports, ask Ryan down the road. We also get involved in non-metallic mining. Scott Conkle on my staff has been running our regional non-metallic mining program for, I think it's over 10 years now. I lost count. But we are the second, we were the first regional program in the state, and the only one for quite a number of years. I think there's one more small regional program in the southwest part of the state, but of course my staff had to train them on how to do that. So we are a leader in that area. We've managed to keep the fees to the operators reasonable, if not lower, than most of the rest of the state, and that project has worked well. The side benefit of having Scott Conkle on my staff is he comes from a background in mining with the private sector, and I understand he's been doing a good job leading a lot of the conversation with the county's mining ordinance rewrite, and that's an ongoing project. I hear it's going well, but we're glad we can help out and provide some perspective there. Transportation is a big component of what we do. It doesn't affect Waupaca County, but we are a federally designated metropolitan planning organization for the Fox Cities and for Oshkosh, and we also staff the Fond du Lac MPO. That's really some federal planning requirements that come in. But as part of our allocation of money from DOT and Federal Highway, we get some money that we can help out in the more rural portions of our region, and we are always available for questions regarding transportation. We'll periodically get involved in some town or county issues dealing with intersections or redesigns of certain things or access control, myriad of different subjects, and we're always available to help out on kind of those small transportation issues. We do get involved in transit and rural transit as well, and Nick on my staff and others have helped the county out. Last year in particular, just a one-time deal helping out with the 8521 grant because of some staffing capacity issues. And we also routinely update the Public Transit and Human Service Transportation Coordination Plan. It's a mouthful, I know, but this is a document that allows the county to seek various funding and grants by virtue of having that plan. The Safe Routes to School program that we run is still the only regional one in the state. It's been recognized nationally, and it's one of the most efficient ways that we found to spend DOT's money and really help the school districts and the communities out with trying to ensure the infrastructure is there to allow the kids to walk to school and to do so safely. We're starting to see more increases in children actually walking to school, like I had to do, 10 miles both ways uphill, that kind of thing. But we work with a number of districts, and we've had great success there. We had applied for additional funds to keep that program going, and I'm happy to say earlier this summer we were awarded an additional $837,000, which will allow us to keep that program going through 2018, continue to work with your schools and districts, and hopefully add some new ones so we have complete coverage of this throughout the region. Bicycle and pedestrian issues really have started to ramp up and come to the forefront in recent years, and we've had a lot of requests to help communities out with those issues. Sometimes they're pretty clean cut and simple, sometimes they're very controversial, but with the adoption, soon to be adoption of a regional bicycle and pedestrian plan for the urban areas, we elected to look at our budget, and we moved some things around and found out that we should be able to afford a new staff position, and that will be a regional bicycle and pedestrian coordinator position. That is a position that, again, in compared to the state, is a bit of an anomaly, and will be one of the only regions to have such a position to help our communities. We expect they'll spend about 80% of their time in the Fox Cities, Oshkosh, and Fond du Lac, but we have reserved about 20% of that position's time to help the rural areas and the smaller communities within the region. So you'll hear more about that. We're in the hiring process now. Hopefully we'll have somebody on board in a few weeks. But again, another resource that you as the county or communities can take advantage of. If you flip the page over on the back side, this is sort of, I guess, one of our pride and joys in terms of showing our value to the counties in terms of what they contribute to our budget. But we've always made ourselves available to communities or the county to do smaller scale technical assistance projects. Many communities, given their size and budget, don't have planners on staff. Even at a county level, many planners are consumed by administrative things or other types of things and don't have a lot of time to help communities. So we routinely request projects on an annual basis. Those letters would have been sent out in August, and the project requests are due back in November. So make sure you talk to your communities and think of some things that we might be able to do. But we do anything from updating comprehensive outdoor recreation plans to doing separate small studies like a housing report for the city of Waupaca. We've dealt with stormwater ordinance work. Staff right now is working with the city of Waupaca this year and probably into next, looking at changing their zoning code to do a form-based code. Not many of those exist within the region. And we do keep tabs on a lot of what's going on in the GIS world and coordinate with all the land information officers throughout the counties in our region. A few things on the horizon, a few that I mentioned before on programs that'll keep going, but we have been involved in aquatic invasive species over the year. Todd Vervuman of my staff worked under a DNR grant for multiple years, and with the latest round of funding, we've been informed that we weren't funded again, and actually not a lot, if any, folks within the whole Lake Winnebago and Winnebago Pool Lakes were funded to do that work, which draws a lot of concern, not only from us, given the size and the economic impact of that resource, but our commissioners as well are very concerned about the lack of state effort within our region on that subject. So we continue to talk about how we might be able to keep some of that work going, do it in partnership with others out there, and maybe even consider using some of our own levy monies to foster a small-scale program, nothing like we did in the past DNR grant, but again, just to keep it in front of people because it is a big concern out there. I think I'm going to leave things at that. There are other things that aren't listed on here, I assure you, and we are always willing to come out to any of your communities or the county or committees to talk about things we're working on or things that we might be able to do for the county. But I think it's fair to end things by saying that if we're going to achieve some of the regional visions that we have and have a good, solid, strong region that competes well with others, we have to look at a myriad of things, not only at the community level, but we always need to think regionally and how we can facilitate these things through cooperation of communities or of our counties as a whole to move things forward. So I think it's very important that Waupaca County is a member and remains a member, and we hope that you see the value in what we've been doing for the price that you pay, so to speak. We thank you for your support. So with that, if there's any questions, happy to answer those.
Questions for Eric?
I got a question.
Mr. Murphy.
Eric, I'm particularly interested in this new person you're going to hire for the bicycle and pedestrian stuff. You know, it seems like most of your, from what you said, is going to be directed towards the urban communities, Fond du Lac, Oshkosh, and not very much towards the rural communities. Mm-hmm. And you know, I come from a community where there's two, Scandinavia and Iola, and we would love to connect those two communities with a bicycle and pedestrian path. So I'd like you to keep that in mind. Possibly we can get together and figure out how to get some help for that. Thank you.
Appreciate the heads up on that. We're going to have to probably adjust a bit as that new person comes in, and because of where the money's being allocated from, a lot of that work is going to have to go into the urban areas, but we do recognize the needs out there or the desires by communities to have these facilities, and I think it's equally important. So I'll kind of put that on the list, and as we get the new person on board, that might be something that they can take up relatively soon. I would also encourage any communities that have wants or needs in the bicycle pedestrian realm to use those technical assistance request forms, and if you got some small scale projects, let us know. If we find over time that there's more demand in the rural areas, we might be able to shift the allocation of that person's time a little more, but you know, bottom line, we want that person to be a resource for everybody, not just an urban area thing. So, thank you.
Other questions for Eric?
Eric, I know you get a lot of requests for different projects throughout your district, and what are the criteria that you use for picking the ones that you're going to take care of right away and those that you're going to put on hold?
We typically, since we've initiated this process for doing those requests about 5-6 years ago, we've traditionally taken on about 25 to 35 separate projects per year. I'm glad to say in past years we've been able to fulfill just about every one that's been requested, with some small exceptions. The criteria is basically it's got to be small scale. It's something that shouldn't take a planner hopefully more than about 3 to 5 days or about a week's worth of time to complete. Sometimes they extend beyond that, and that's fine. We kind of subsidize that and deal with the overruns there. Never have we gone back and asked a community for money. Just sometimes these things, you know, the ball is in the town's court forever before it gets back to us. But another key thing we have to look for is matching up the project requests with the capacity on my staff and the skills. And at least over the years, magically, it's all kind of aligned and worked out well. I have a feeling for some reason this year we may not be able to honor as many requests because of some staffing changes we have and some skills we've lost. But you know, if it's something that a community needs a few tweaks made to a zoning ordinance, not a complete rewrite, that's something that we'd certainly consider. Some of the open space and recreation plan updates we typically will do. We've got one staff who's pretty much dedicated to doing nothing but those plans, and sometimes we have a little bit of a line form, first come, first serve. But for the most part, we've been able to honor most of those and help out. So, you know, ask away, regardless of what the project is. If we don't feel that we can do it, we might be able to provide some insights on how it can get done if it's really not in our purview.
Anybody else with a question? I don't see Eric. On behalf of Mr. Fedowitz and Mr. Barrington and myself, we want to thank you for serving on your board, and what a great job of you and your staff do over there.
Thank you. I'll pass it along to them. Always a pleasure to be here, and hope you get out of here in time to enjoy some of the nice day out there.
Thank you.
So give a call if there's ever any questions. My phone's always sitting on my desk waiting to ring. So take care. Enjoy the fall.
Thank you, Eric. With your permission, I'd like to move number 11 up right after Eric's presentation now, with your permission. Is that okay? Yes. Okay. With that, I would like to, number 11 is a certificate of appreciation to the service groups, WCI. I'm going to ask Director Chuck Price to come forward, please.
Didn't recognize you. Got the same haircut there. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
And thank you for kind of pushing us up, Chairman Keppen. I appreciate that. Got an opportunity to recognize some folks working within some of the programs in our department. Lots of exciting things going on under the umbrella of Department of Health and Human Services these days. And WCI is no exception. We've got a variety of things going on, lots of changes. I don't know, just by a show of hands, who's ever been out to WCI, especially in the last few months? Okay. Well, I'd encourage you, especially after today, to connect with Gene Rupert, who I'll introduce in a minute, to get a tour. I think you'd be really impressed with some of the physical changes that have been going on out at WCI, as well as some of the practice changes and philosophical changes. You may be familiar with WCI as a production facility where folks have been able to get trained on vocational rehabilitation skills. And I think historically, when folks have participated with WCI and programs like it, it was a come into our program and you stay with us for the extent of, I guess you could call your career. And really the shift for us has been to look at developing those skills with the intent of moving folks on into community job placements and sustainable employment and independence. And so we've really shifted the gears on that, and the staff should be commended for that change. And so we've built it as a one-way street. When you come into WCI, we'll give you those skills and we'll help you get out into the community and job placements. And the staff have created, I think I heard, right in the neighborhood of about 53 job placement opportunities. So we've really worked to create and develop sites that will take on our clients, our members, to be able to do those job skills. And so I think it's really an unbelievable feat, and it creates a host of opportunities and options for the members that we're serving. And one of those options and opportunities is our Wayside program. And that's why we're here today, for that piece of recognition. I'm going to turn the podium over to Gene Rupert, who's our WCI coordinator, has been with us just a couple of years, right?
Yeah, like about 38. Starting, I was really young.
So I'm going to turn it over to Gene to explain the Wayside program, the recognition that's been received by the program for the staff and the members that provide that, and then introduce those folks. So Gene, here you go.
Thank you, Chuck. I think that's the longest introduction I ever had, too. But and thank you for moving us up on the agenda, Mr. Keppen. Like you said, I'd like to talk about the award that we received. It was from the office of the governor. Governor Walker signed the award. We received this a couple weeks ago. And a gentleman by the name of Tom Van Beck from the Wisconsin Department of Transportation came up and gave us the award. And since you can't see the award, I'm going to read kind of what it says. It's a very nice award, and it kind of summarizes what it's all about. And I'll leave out some of the whereases and whereises and the therefores that they always put on these awards just to make it a little shorter. But Wisconsin Department of Transportation has a long-standing partnership with local community rehabilitation programs and employing individuals to provide maintenance service at rest areas and waysides located along the interstate system and other major highways in Wisconsin. This employment helps to meet the vocational and developmental needs of hundreds of individuals from around the state. The work crews do an excellent job of keeping the rest areas and seasonal wayside sites clean, safe, and maintained in good working order. The individual workers consistently perform their duties with positive attitudes and high standards. And whereas the year of 2014 has been proclaimed the year of the better bottom line in Wisconsin to encourage and promote opportunities for people with disabilities. And then Scott Walker recognizes the value and congratulates all the work areas, organizations involved with rest area maintenance programs. So this award was given out to all of our workers. And if you haven't turned around, you probably will see a big kind of a yellow, green, or whatever color that is, glow in the back of the room. It certainly brightens up the color, I guess, of the room a little bit. And at this time, before I talk about our programs a little bit, I'd like the people that made this award worthwhile stand up and introduce themselves. We brought along a couple of the supervisors as well, along with the workers. So if John, if you'd like to start, he's one of our wayside supervisors, and Sam, introduce yourself and go from there, please.
I'm John Gearin. I'm a wayside supervisor.
Chris Huseman, I work there. Calvin Hanson, work at Wayside.
Kurt Arrowood, I work at Wayside.
Cody Crappy, I work at Wayside.
Tom Thompson, and I work at the Wayside.
Ed Braund, I'm a Wayside supervisor.
Adam Hass, I work at Wayside.
Tyler Arrowwood, work at Wayside with them.
Brandon Babin, I work at Wayside.
Oh. My name is DJ, I work at Wayside.
Greg Frederick, and I work at Wayside.
Jan Henschel, and I'm the Rehabilitation Support Specialist at WCI.
And Lisa?
I'm Lisa Grasshoff. I'm the Rehabilitation Manager at WCI.
Again, all these individuals maintain the waysides in our county. If you're not familiar, there's one year-round site located up by Marion, where actually our crew staffs that every day of the year, 365 days, holidays, you name it, everything else, and provide the maintenance there. Again, everything from mowing the lawn to plowing the snow off the sidewalks. Dean Steingraber and his crew come in and plow the main thoroughfare through. We appreciate that too, Dean. And otherwise, our members keep the sidewalks all clean, the area clean, the restrooms clean, the pumping stations, again, all the restrooms and all the facilities there have to be maintained, as well as some of the picnic tables and outside shelters and so on. Then we also maintain two seasonal sites, one that's located close to the Royalton area, and also one located close to the Sugar Bush area, part of Waupaca County. And those sites are open typically from about, they used to be open a lot longer, but with the funding cuts and so on, they got shortened up the season. But they're open we're there 5 days a week, servicing those sites, and they're open all the way from May through September. So they just closed down, those seasonal sites. They're still open where you can drive in, but the restrooms, you'll see snow fence wrapped around so no one can go in and get those dirty. Hopefully they'll be ready to go next spring again when we get ready there. So again, we've been at the waysides. The program started in Waupaca County with a partnership with the state back in 1992. Revenues are somewhere around the $134,000 a year that we maintain the revenues. But beyond all of that, it's really the work again that our individuals do there and the skills that they gain. Again, like Chuck mentioned, our focus is toward community employment, and it gives us another chance to provide another site to assess skills and give training to our individuals so they can become better workers out in the community. So with that, that's about it. Again, the members maintain quite a bit of benefit from it, and we appreciate the time to come here to the board and share this award with you. Thank you so much.
Well, Gene, on behalf of the county board, we certainly want to thank you for your 38 years of service to public service.
Thank you.
To the benefit of Waupaca County and others traveling through. And what a great team you have out there, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your great work you do for Waupaca County.
I hope I have a few more years left yet, too, so thank you. All right.
Next, we get on to reports. We'll have report number 11, the Register of Deeds, Michael Mazemke, and the 2013 annual report and updates.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's been a while since I've been in front of you, and I'm happy to be in front of you this morning. Less than a week ago, Clerk Robbins said that our agenda was a little small, so I decided to jump in and help out with that, and you see the agenda has filled up with her requests for additional items. So the information I put in front of you, as important as it is, it was updated as of about 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. I want it to be the most up-to-date, important information that it is. So going along with doing it late in the day yesterday and early this morning, obviously sometimes you make errors. So I will point a few of those out just to show you that I am truly human. So what you have in front of you, and I guess I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I started here in 2007, or I'm sorry, 1997. Wow. Time flies when you're having fun. That was 92,317 documents ago. So we have been busy in our office. I'd like to say that I wish we could raise our revenues more. Unfortunately, we're based on kind of what the economy is doing, and if it isn't good, then we're not recording a lot of deeds and mortgages and some of those things. So in that report, and I guess the second page of it, I tried to conserve paper because I know we go through enough of it, but I guess I just want to point out that our office, the mission that we've kind of come up with through the Register of Deeds Association, is to provide and protect the integrity of the official county repository for real estate records, which include deeds, land contracts, mortgages. It says ETC on there, but you'll also see in that report that the instrument totals towards the back of your report, we have about 130 different documents that we record in a year's time. So you'll see a variety of different documents there. Going on, real property related to financing statements. We also take care of vital records, birth, death, marriage, and domestic partnerships. To provide safe archival, storage, and convenient access to public records. To implement statutory changes, system modernization, program and procedural evaluation, and staff development to assure a high level of timely service for our citizen customers. And we do work on that on a daily basis. My background is the title business as well as a little bit of public relations, and I think sometimes I may overstep my bounds a little bit because more often than not we get people that will come in and ask for sometimes I have to point out our little salmon piece of paper that says we don't give legal advice, but sometimes I find myself getting pulled in to help people out as much as I can with easement questions, and it becomes real difficult to separate my personal knowledge a little bit from what I should be doing as more a custodian of those records in the Register of Deeds office. So quite often you'll see me at the counter with people, and I do spend a lot of time with folks, and again, trying to help people out with their needs. Also in that report, the first page of the report, page 3 of the report has something called document totals, deed and transfer totals. And there's quite a history there, and if you kind of go through, you'll see the good times and the bad times. And as much as I like to say that this is my 2013 report, and as well as up to date of 2014, If you look in the column at the bottom of 2014, you'll see document number of documents. To date, we are at 6,556 documents. Of those, there's 902 transfers that had transfer fees. And that number there should actually be 348. There's an 8 missing. $348,149.10 in transfer fees that have come into our office. Of that, the county keeps 20%. 80% goes on to the state. With that number of 6,556 documents, that is down significantly from 2013, where we recorded a total for the year 2013, 11,340 documents. You'll see 2012 was a very good year with recording 13,789 documents. That was also a year that our office recognized, I believe it was about a $8,500 surplus revenue from our budget, so, or 87,000, I believe is what it was. So again, with the economy being what it is, I really believe transfers have been good this year. There has been quite a few sales. Some of our realtors are saying that they're still busy and they have a lot to close in the next 30 days. I never know what to expect on a daily basis. Yesterday we recorded about 75 documents. 3-4 days earlier than that, it was 12 documents. So you just never know. It's a roller coaster as to what to expect. Title companies will bring in a stack that sometimes they've had for several days. That always makes me a little bit nervous when they don't record those documents in a timely manner. But when they bring them, we record them and do what we need to do to get them back out to them. The next page, as I mentioned earlier, is a list of the various documents that we've recorded, and it's quite a list. Some of those numbers, and I guess the one that kind of strikes me the most is I mentioned the number of deeds with fees. There was 902 deeds with, or transfer and deeds with fees. However, you'll see that on that last page of the report that there was actually 919 warranty deeds, but there is, in some cases, there is not a fee paid on those. A deed can be recorded where it's between spouses where they got divorced, whether it be from parent to child, then it's also exempt from fees. So a little bit of information as to why those numbers change or look different. With that, I guess a couple good news. Several of you may remember I was president of the Register of Deeds Association in 2012 and 13. Previous to my being president, a lady from Columbia County, Lisa Walker, was the president, and she did a great job for our association. She represents our association with the State Vital Records Office. She's kind of the liaison for our association and does a great job. And several years ago, we were down in Madison kind of talking with legislators about a bill that we had in front of them, and I don't even remember which one it was, but I talked to Lisa quite a bit about her affiliation with working with State Vitals, because State Vitals is really a tricky area of our business. Again, for me, it's a little bit new, having done the real estate end of it. So her and I had a chat, and I said about that time John Kiesel, who was the state registrar, retired, and I said, well, with your background, I said, you should look into that position. And she kind of laughed it off, and I believe early last week there was an appointment, or she was assigned the new state registrar for the state of Wisconsin. She'll be taking position in November. So I was real happy to see that she will be the new state registrar. And unfortunately, I think she's got quite a task in front of her. We all have quite a list of some things that are going on. I work pretty close with Health and Human Services. We have a memorandum of understanding where we share some of our birth, death, marriage records with them, and that's probably the biggest document that we're looking for some assistance with the state registrar. So Lisa will have her work cut out for her, but I'm sure she will do a great job. So I'm just real happy to see that we are we'll be linked pretty well with that office when Lisa takes over. The other thing that was kind of been on our radar a lot several years ago, and I believe some of you have approached me, there was a deed scam that was being mailed out to if you happen to purchase property, if you happen to record a deed or something like that, a company was sending you a solicitation to purchase copies of your deed and a property information report, and they would be happy to give you that report for $85. It came in a letter that kind of looked official, almost as if it was from the government. There was actually even some nice light blue lines on it, and it had a real quick, hurry up, get this done, hurry up, send us money. And what they would provide for you is a copy of your deed, a copy of your tax bill, and some other small information about your property, all of which you can come to the Register of Deeds office, get a copy of your deed for $2 for the first page and $1 for the additional page, which are statutory costs. To go to the treasurer's office, I don't believe they even charge you to take a look at your property tax bill, but this company was soliciting people. Sometimes these people would be so nervous about it, they'd quick write out their check for $85 or $89, send it in, and be taken for that amount of money. So our association started looking, and we were really torn by this. However, what they were doing really wasn't illegal. Immoral, that's another story. So last year we were happy enough to put this in front of some legislators, and a bill was passed, and it's really changed how they can solicit. They have to put on there that it is a solicitation. They also had very fine type print, and they have to have bigger print. And so if you know of anybody receiving that letter, because it is now a law, there is a place that I can give you to write to say that you're still being solicited, and whether it's illegal, that's something for our Justice Department to kind of take a look at. So that's some real success that we've had with legislation in the past year. So I'm happy to report that, because I know several people, as a matter of fact, my English teacher was in and was right after me on that one. What were we doing about it? So I was happy to help out on that front. So other than that, again, with the beautiful weather, I'm kind of short, sweet, and to the point. And so if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And/or I think you typically see me as you come in. I sit in the front more these days, just where I can be seen, because I hear this every so often that, am I ever at the office? And yes, I am at the office typically. And I like to be the first one there in the morning so I can greet everybody as they come in. So I'm happy to help out with anything that you have as far as, property information or vital records. And again, if there's any questions, I'm willing to take those now.
Mike, is that redacting process that we were forced to go through some time ago, has that been completed?
We will be collecting fees through the end of this year for redacting. We've back imaged a lot of records, and the next step is we're working with a consultant to actually have Social Security's numbers redacted from those images. We're not completed with it, and it's hard to believe as it is. There's a gentleman by the name of Chad, and he works very closely with our IS department. He is overwhelmingly in demand, and I have not been able to get him here to complete that for our county. A lot of those images have redacted images, but in-house you have to be able to pull up the document with the Social Security number. But if you're on the internet outside of the county, you can't pull up a document with Social Security numbers. It's not a hard rule that has to be done at the end of this year. I want as many of those records redacted as possible, but I can tell you there's probably less than 1,000 documents with Social Security numbers on them. But until we actually do it, I'm not real certain of the exact number. And as that goes, I'm real happy with the downturn and with less documents. Our staff has been implementing. We have all images back to 1935 out there available online. However, in order to find those images, we have to put in the supporting information, and we're manually indexing that information. We've gone from 1982 back to 1969 importing the grantor-grantee information. So if you will go to the county's website, you can actually probably pull up your deed. Some of you have been in your homes a long time, but there is a possibility that, if you look for your name from 1969 forward, you probably should be able to find your deed out there. It is a free service to look at and use that program. All you have to do is set up a user ID and password, and you can search Waupaca County records. It's when you would go to download or look at the actual deed is when you would be charged $2 for the first page and $1 for each additional. You'd be prompted to put in a credit card. The credit card company does have a fee of $4, but for a small fee, you can actually get a copy of your deed, you can get a copy of your mortgage or any document that's been recorded in our office. So that's been a real positive with title companies. Landshark is the name of the program, and we have about 700 users, and that income for monthly documents gotten offline is anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 a month. So that's been a real nice money revenue generator for our office as well and for the county.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Mazemke? Guess not. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your great work, too.
Go Royals.
Yes. At least they're in it.
Yeah.
I don't want to embarrass Mike because he's a modest guy, but you have this in your packet. I received emails and about our county, about our staff, and so on. And I get many compliments on Mr. Mazemke's department. And I just thought what was really neat in the bottom is, in short, Mike made me feel as if Waupaca and surrounding communities are extremely nice and friendly, area to visit and enjoy. I truly felt welcome. I plan to come back to enjoy the friendly scenic area soon. Mike did the terrific job at selling the area. He's a county ambassador. That is so neat. That area is in public service and is promoting his county at the same time. Thanks a lot, Mike. Yes. Next, we have Highway Commissioner Dean Steingraber.
Real quick, I'm not going to say that Mike Mazemke's that nice of a guy, because last Saturday he was pretty ruthless at Fox Valley Lutheran High School when the T-Birds beat the Bulldogs in volleyball. He was pretty excited about that. So we had fun, though, didn't we? We had fun. Okay, well, thank you for this brief moment here. I just want to make sure you all received the newsletter, our fall newsletter. This is something that we've been trying to do twice a year. To get the word out to all of our constituents externally. And what we've been doing here now is giving you a hard copy, placing this on our website, emailing to all of our municipalities, emailing to anyone that requests it. We've gone to the fair and a few other places, and those that are requesting it, we're trying to get them hooked up so we can email this out to them. We're going to be emailing all to the department heads. Placing it on the Yammer so that all of our employees here in the county can see it, and posting it out to our highway staff. And if anyone else, if anybody else that may enjoy this newsletter, again, what we're trying to do with this newsletter is just give you an update on what's going on. We started out with twice a year, and we're hoping that we're able to keep it up. It's a fair amount of effort to put something together like this. Also then, I'm just going to mention here, Mary has on the agenda here about the November 4th transportation referendum, and just wanted to remind you that will be coming up during the elections, and we want to encourage everybody to vote yes for the referendum. The referendum is protecting the transportation fund at the state level. Registration fees, gas tax, taxpayers expect that money to go into transportation fund and to be used for transportation. And this has been going on for several years here now. We've had advisory referendums and gone through a couple different legislative cycles. It really is supported all the way across the board by the legislators. Start out with the governor, with the legislators, with local officials, with the people. We've had these advisory referendums in the past, and they've been 60, 70, 80% to the positive, that people want that money to go into transportation and be used there, not be used to go and do some shell games at the state level. So we're asking you and trying to get the word out to the public that we're very supportive of this, and hopefully it will pass, and that will be the last leg of getting that to happen. So I just wanted to tell you about that. Would like to bring that to the next county board meeting if we have time in October, and talk just a little bit more about it before that important election in November. And then just want to give you an update on some of our projects that are going on. If you're driving around the county today, you'll see out on Highway 10 eastbound by the airport, we are doing concrete buckle repairs. Did it yesterday, we'll be doing it today, we'll be doing it next week. So give those guys a break out there. Slowly go through the work zone and let them get their work done, and that concrete will be repaired then and ready for winter snow plowing. County Trunk Highway B, we're preparing to pave in Manawa later this week, so you'll see our crews out there. In that area, that road is closed, and there's a detour around Manawa, but that is what we're doing there. We're hoping to be paving there later this week, and hopefully opening it up pretty soon. We're also out mowing ditches in a few townships and trying to get that work done, also on some of our county highway sections, and you see a few of our guys out doing that. We're out striping center lines as well, and we're also in Waupaca, County Trunk Highway F. The storm sewer is completed, but now we're starting to excavate the dirt out and hauling back in gravel. We're hoping to be putting curb and gutter down in a couple weeks, and sidewalk, and getting that ready for paving as well. And then we don't have it all here? Okay. And that's fine. That's fine. All of you do have the newsletter here. The first page here talks about the project update. The next article there on the bottom of page 1 is the County Trunk Highway T wet meadow. We're going to be constructing that here real shortly. Remember, that was the O'Brien farm, O'Brien piece of land at the corner of Island Road and T. We're going to be constructing that to mitigate for the wetlands that we took during the County Trunk Highway T reconstruction project. And it's kind of interesting, if you turn to page 3 in your newsletter, down in the bottom, it continues on with the wet meadow article, and it was kind of neat. Our guys were out surveying, staking, and getting that project ready, and out there in between the old corn rows were these wet meadow flowers, grasses that are just naturally starting to come up already, and you see a couple pictures of some of that, and I think it's kind of neat. We really think this is a great site for this wet meadow to be constructed, and we really think it's going to work. So we're pretty excited about that. And then back to page 2, the New London fuel system is up and running now. We went in and put in larger diesel tanks and also unleaded fuel there. And we're working with the school district of New London. They average about 50,000 gallons a year, and we're selling that to them, and the highway department and the school district working together to get that fuel cheaper for the taxpayers. And then back to page 3, under the office update, where one of our strategic initiatives was to use modern technologies to do things more efficiently. Here we have a picture of one of our guys going on the computer, entering in his time, right directly online, and our guys are doing a great job in transitioning into that. And instead of using paper and pencil, instead of traveling across the county to bring the paper and pencil, we'll be able to do it online more efficiently as we get a little bit more acclimated to it. So the guys are doing a great job with that. And then on the back page here, page 4, just want to highlight a couple of employees, Al Kriesel, Kurt Schwan. These are 2 guys that volunteered to take some 2-week courses and other education on becoming a bridge inspectors and certified bridge inspectors for the county, and we really appreciate those 2 guys stepping up, and it's very helpful for us that we have these people, and along with some of our other staff that already is trained to do bridge inspections, and we're out there inspecting bridges here in Waupaca County, but also in our surrounding counties. So just want to highlight those 2 gentlemen. So any questions for me? Yes.
Yes, they brought this up at the county convention, excuse me, and asked us to vote so that they could not steal money out of the highway fund anymore. I had a stupid question to ask then, and I was afraid to ask it, so I'll ask it now.
You're not afraid to ask now?
No.
Okay. Good.
Why was there so much money in the highway fund to be taken out?
Well, what they basically did, if you remember, there's always that pot of money there, and there's money constantly flowing into the transportation fund because everybody is using fuel, and that money, that revenue is constantly coming in there. What they would do is they'd take that money and they would use it towards general state operations, and then they would backfill that with bonding. Money that they could borrow. Not all operations, just like here in Waupaca County, can we go and borrow for operating Mike Mazemke's office or operating, general highway office administration. But we can go borrow money for capital improvement projects. And that's basically what they did. They took that money out, and helped plug the holes in the state budget, and then backfilled it with more borrowing. So that's why some of our borrowing woes are out there, and the people didn't like it. There was a lot of politics going on back and forth, but in tough times they used that to balance the budget and move the dollars around. People are saying, no, that shouldn't happen anymore. That should stay put for transportation, and the others should stand on their own. So I don't know if that answers your question or not, but that's what was going on. I think the last couple budgets here now, that hasn't happened, but it happened for quite a few before that.
Other questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dean. Next, we'll have Finance Director Heidi Dombrowski update on the Public Finance Authority. And after her presentation, we'll take a short break, just so you have a plan. Well, you're welcome.
Morning.
Morning.
On your desk this morning, I put a packet of information, and for those of you that may not have been on the board back in 2010, just to give you a quick snapshot as to what the Public Finance Authority is back in 2010, Waupaca County signed a resolution to create the Joint Exercise of Powers Agreement. And what that did is we signed it along with City of Lancaster, Adams County, Bayfield County, and Marathon County. And by doing that, it allowed, by state statutes, for the Public Finance Authority to be created. And the purpose of the authority is to promote economic, cultural, and community development. And what's different about this organization is a lot of states have these types of authorities, but they're within the given state. And this authority allows not only economic development growth within the state of Wisconsin, but nationwide. And currently we have done transactions in about 37 states. And what the thought process is it allows bond issuers to tap into the tax-exempt market, which technically we could do that at any local government level, but the staff needed to accommodate those needs is the expertise is very high, and therefore the Public Finance Authority gives that option for bond issuers to tap into the market. And I just wanted to give you, since its inception in September of 2010, the PFA has closed about $2.1 billion worth of transactions. And you can see the 2010 we had 2 transactions, 2011 we had 14, 12 we had 17, in 2013 we had 21. You can see in 2012 that was quite a large jump, but we did airport structures. 2 airport structures were approved at that juncture, and that's why the dollar amount is higher. But what we want to do is see an increase in the type of, in the amount of transactions that we're doing. And then the last few pages gives you just what kind of, who the borrowers were, the project types, all sorts of different information. And I just wanted to give an update here. I do sit on that board along with the city of Lancaster and can't think of the other county that's, I think it's Bayfield maybe, that's, but I am sitting on that as the treasurer. And then we also have the NACO's involved and the National League of Cities. And it's a really good organization, and it's really done some really good economic benefits within nationwide. And it's housed out of the WCA facility in Madison. So all the TEFRA hearings are held in Madison out of that office. And we do meet regularly. We do have transactions that we're doing about every other week. I'm on a teleconference meeting about every other Wednesday from at 2 o'clock. That's when we meet, and it does give you the website address that you could go out and look at the types of information. We just recently passed bylaws to govern the facility, and eventually I think we're going to have to move to getting an executive director. It is a blooming area, and it's been exciting to be part of the program. So I appreciate being allowed to be a board, sitting on the board of directors there, and just wanted to give you a snapshot as to what we are doing.
Any questions for Heidi regarding that? I just want to thank you very much for your work on that board. And then, back in about 2010, Mark O'Connell is really the reason that Waupaca County is a part of this, because at our WCA board meetings, he would talk about this coming to be of the PFA, and he went and included Waupaca County and asked if we would be interested. Heidi, myself, and Jeff Seaworth traveled to Madison and got the lowdown on what this is all about, and we're lucky to be included in that. And Mark said he's lucky to have Heidi on the board too with her expertise. So that's how it all started, thanks to Mark O'Connell, and thank you, Heidi.
Any questions?
Questions?
Thank you.
Okay, we'll take a short break at this time. At today's meeting, I got timely present from Supervisor Muck. And he brought this to me for a good reason, because now the TV camera says that I got to wear it because of the glare he's getting. Thank you, Supervisor Muck.
Oh, you got another one, Lee? I got one more, I get you.
Okay.
Dick, actually, the reason I brought that is one of my constituents said mine was glaring, but I said the camera's on Dick more than me, so I made sure Dick got it.
Well, thank goodness I got a haircut the other day. Okay, next we have Sandy Liang, Waupaca County EW Extension Family Living Educator. Sandy, good morning.
I'm a little shorter, so. Hi, good morning. There are some new faces here, so I'll do like a 2-second intro. I work at UW Extension, and I'm the family living educator. I started my position so I've been here for a little under a year. And as someone else has said earlier, Waupaca has been a very welcoming community. So just say thank you for all the new people who have just show me around places and everything. And since my time in Extension, I've noticed that our office is always very busy and everyone always has multiple projects going on. And so in front of you, you have a Extension Impact Report. And this is just like a highlight of current projects that are going on in the fall. And one of the things that I have been working on, in addition to some other parenting and healthy community initiatives, is working on financial capability in families. And there are many families in the community that are struggling to make ends meet, and budgeting and financial stuff is something that tends to be short term. And what we are trying to do is move them to self-sufficiency and having them think about giving them the skills, access, and knowledge to make long-term financial goals that will kind of move them forward. So what I've been doing is building some relationships with some new organizations, and one of the projects is working with Head Start parents, because they are in connection with young kids, and we know how important it is to give kids a great first few years. So in this program, we offer parents financial newsletters that connect them with to community resources. We give parents workshops, and also open the doors for financial coaching to have someone there for them as they make this little journey. And this is just one small part of some bigger things. I'm also developing new relationships with VITA, which is an income tax assistance program, and offering them just guidelines on which organizations to tap into, and some planning stuff on that end. So on the second page, we go into some other programs that Extension works with. And our Wisconsin Nutrition Education Program educator has been, she's also relatively new, and she is also in the process of relationship building. And in the summer, she partnered with Healthy Beginnings, which also works with young families, young parents, and just doing lots of different ways to introduce parents and to help their kids lead healthy lives from an early age. And that includes just recipes, tips, and just easy physical activity components along with that. Along with that. And all of this not just focuses on health and physical activity, but also connects families with each other and gives families that strong support system to work together to give their families a healthy environment, and encouraging parents to incorporate these short little easy learning lessons into their daily life. And that falls perfectly into our next thing, which is safe routes for walking and biking. And if you were paying attention earlier, someone talked about how they have been working on safe routes and walking and biking. And our youth development educator is working on this as well, with the planning aspect of it. And from a family and youth lens, the safe walking and biking it's not just great for the community, but it's really great for just building, encouraging community health. So when we have safe roads for kids, when our kids are more active, when people feel safe, biking and walking along streets, it just creates a kind of community feel where it's easier to be healthy, where this kind of activity is the norm. So an expansion of the Safe Routes to Schools project is Complete Streets, which is a long-term kind of conversation on what can we do in our community, what kind of construction needs to be done to create these safe walking paths. And because it's such an extensive plan, it involves planning, development, and implementation because it encompasses so many sectors with construction and traffic. And our youth development educator has been instrumental in just the planning committee and offering the family kind of lens and what works for kids. And our ag agent has been working on this new program, and it's for farmers, which is another area that Extension works with. And in this program, what he is encouraging is, he had his workshop in New London, and the workshop was to encourage farmers to look into risk management to see if enrolling in this new safety net program would be a good fit for their farm business. So this safety net program is great for farmers where it makes sense to think about. It's kind of like an insurance kind of analogy where you enroll in this program so that when your fee doesn't and your income doesn't quite match up, you kind of have a little safety net to fall into, so you're not that deep in the hole. So he did a lot of outreach work into the community, and people who attended the workshop found it very valuable, and they thought it was an excellent thing. So this new a margin protection program, it's expected to generate lots of monetary insurance revenue for farms up to 2018. And finally, we have something that many of you might have been a part of on the back page. There's a highlight of what our 4-H youth development coordinator has been working on. She works very closely with the kids and their parents and families. And for those of you who went to the county fair, you were able to see that there's like a wide range of things that people participate in. And the youth get an excellent opportunity to do things in woodworking, computers, Legos, and of course all the animals that just took up half the fair, I think. And they also had an opportunity to sort of show off that they this 4-H organization has been growing for 100 years. So they had like a celebration and a timeline to celebrate everything that the kids have done, that the volunteers have done, and it was a great success, and there was a pretty great attendance. And that pretty much wraps up our report. We do have we are in the process of filling our community development educator, hopefully by the end of the year. And yeah, again, thank you for all the support. And if you haven't met me yet, feel free to stop by and say hi after I'm done. And yeah, does anyone have any questions or anything about
Questions for Sandy?
stuff?
Seeing none, thank you very
None,
much
all
for your
right,
fine
thank
report.
you.
Okay, our next report should really be good here too. It's going to be a WCA convention report from the supervisors, and Supervisor John Penny is going to start it off. I believe he's been to over 24 WCA conferences. He told me really it's from the beginning, but I don't think it went back that far. But he's a veteran of the WCA conferences, and he's going to start it off with his report on the WCA conference recently held in the Dells. Mr. Penny.
I couldn't help but think in walking up here this morning that with the retirement of Lloyd Mears and Jim Lawhern, I'm now the oldest member on this county board. It's not really a distinction that I'm really proud of, but it's one that I can't do anything about. And I think I'm the only one here that's in their 80s. I don't think anybody else here is even approaching that. But it's something that I can't do anything about. And I've got a birthday coming up in another month, and just the other day my 3 boys asked me what I might like for my birthday, and I told them the thing I liked most was a paternity suit. But that's not going to happen. But But my purpose here today is to bring you up to date on the WCA convention. That there were 11 of us from Waupaca County that attended down at the Kalahari and Wisconsin Dells. And I called yesterday to Madison and wanted to find out just how many really attended the convention this year, and there were 720 that were there at the convention, so everything took place at the Kalahari. That's somewhat short of the 860 that were there the year that our chairman, Mr. Keppen, was made president of the WCA, so you can just about tell how popular he is. And it was a good convention, just to kind of lay the groundwork. They had three general assemblies. The one that stuck out to me the most was the second one, where they had candidates for the upcoming elections get up and give their little spiel. Also, there was a guy from NACO there. I think the president of NACO right now is from Hawaii, and of course his main purpose was to get some of our counties throughout the state that don't belong to NACO. And there was the governor wasn't there, but Mary Burke was there in the morning of one of the sessions early. She could make it, and she gave a little talk on what she had planned for the future if she is elected. So with that, we're gonna kind of vary a little bit today. I've called those other people, the other 10 of them that were in attendance with me, and I'm gonna ask them to come forward when I call them and tell us what their thoughts were, the things they liked and the things maybe they disliked, and some of the meetings that they went to. They had various topics throughout the days, and what they learned, and maybe kind of bring us up to date. And don't be afraid to come up, because you don't have to be a graduate of the Dale Carnegie course. It's just a matter of saying a few things. And so I guess we want to start it out. I think that Gene and Don and Joyce would wanted to come up together, and come on up, folks, and we'll see what you got to say. Another thing, Dwayne Federwitz was there, and I'm going to hold him until last, because he represented our county board chairman at the business meeting that took place there, and he's going to bring us up to date on what he got out of that. So, okay, Joyce.
Thank you. I hate to start off with negative, because it really was a good convention, but a couple of things I was disappointed in. The first was there was no indoor swimming pool at the Kalahari, all outdoor. Seriously, I went to the nursing home meeting, and I was really hoping to find out some insight for our problem with Lakeview Manor. But the nursing home that they featured is a 236-bed unit. They paid $44 million to build this, and they're doing well, but they have a mental health license, which we do not. Couple other things. I went to the juvenile justice program, and they explained the TAD program, which is to help first-time offenders not repeat. And I'm going to bring this back to criminal justice, Connie, and see if we can't get the speaker to come and speak to us.
I hope you bear with me. I made notes for my little presentation in order to facilitate it and maybe be less boring. And there's going to be a little repetition over what Supervisor Boyer said. But first of all, regarding the speakers, my personal observation, there were many speakers, some were very good, but in my opinion, two speakers were exceptional speakers. The keynote speaker, David Marinas, associate editor of the Washington Post, author of 6 best-selling books. One of his books is about Vince Lombardi and the Packer organization, and he had other topics. They were all interesting. But the next speaker, the word exuberant comes to my mind. For the secretary of the Wisconsin Department of Tourism, her name is Stephanie Klett, K-L-E-T-T. Her enthusiasm and vitality were exciting. Her presentation was captivating. I have no doubt that that lady is doing an excellent job as the Secretary of Tourism for the state of Wisconsin. Now, the The workshop that it caught my interest. It was entitled "How to Keep Your County Nursing Home Healthy Through Diversification and Sustainability." This is brief. It was explained in the agenda. Throughout history, Wisconsin County nursing homes have provided care for some of our state's most vulnerable citizens. The care has evolved with changing trends and practices over the years. However, some things have not changed, such as the dedication of our county staff and the mission of our county homes. Today, county nursing homes look different on the outside. Many county homes throughout the state have built replacement facilities or remodeled existing facilities. The type of services provided within those walls continues to evolve to meet the needs of today's consumers. County nursing homes have evolved over the years to continue successfully maintaining their mission through diversification and sustainability, such as dementia redesign is changing the care provided and in how the diversity among Wisconsin County nursing homes is having positive outcome. Now, with two presentations, one stood out in my mind. It was by the administrator of Dodge County. Their nursing home is called Clearview, and the lady's name is Jane Hooper, and representing Dodge County. There's approximately 88,000 residents in the town in the county, and prior to the updating of Clearview, the care facility required $4.5 million was required through the general tax support to support that operation. That equates to about $51, according to my calculations. That equates to about $51 capita. Our current cost relating recently with Lakeview Manor calculates out to be $17.30 per capita. Dodge County is now self-supporting. They modernized and they diversified. They have 236 beds plus 28 assisted living units. Diversification, in addition to the dementia patients that they normally care for, they provide care for brain injury patients, behavioral health issues, and they have a rehabilitation unit. The cost of the upgrade of the new facilities was in the millions of dollars, somewhere near around $40.5 million they spent. And I think this provides some kind of a perspective of what other counties was willing to do. Each county, we all realize, and talking to the lady administrator, each county has unique issues regarding our responsibility to care for our vulnerable citizens. And that concludes my report, and I thank you.
No, this is not.
Okay.
This is just a report.
I was just going to add one more.
You have something to say?
I'm possibly the only delegate that attended the workshop of the 4-H Centennial. As many of you know, 4-H has been around for 100 years. I attended not just to see what I could learn, but to show my support for the 4-H program. I was a charter member of 4-H 100 years ago, well, not quite that long ago, but I was a charter member of the Peters Mill 4-H Club in 1946 when Dick Hallbach was the first 4-H agent in Waupaca County. The program has changed a lot since that time, but it's still a hands-on program that lets the youth have learning experience outside of the classroom, working on projects during the year and ending with exhibiting them at the county and state fairs. Wisconsin 4-H is preparing the next generation to be leaders through experience in decision-making and citizenship activities. These 4-H youth also participate in service projects in leadership roles to help them develop public speaking and other professional skills that will help them contribute to the community. And I also stayed for a third General Assembly on Tuesday afternoon to see what I could learn about humor, because I'm the world's worst joke teller. Our presenter was Malcolm Kushner, America's favorite humor consultant. He used many examples of humor of PowerPoint presentation, including examples of ex-presidents including Obama. He called Ronald Reagan America's great humorist. He stressed the point of using a joke as part of the speech and remembering the punchline. Now, what was the punchline again? Oh, gee, I forgot. Well, thanks for listening to me anyway.
Thank you.
I'd just like to add one more thing, Jay. I would like to add one more thing. The administrator for the Dodge County facility is more than willing. She seems like a very knowledgeable lady and been through everything prior to what we may be looking at here. Obviously, we're a smaller county, and we're not talking $40 million or whatever that was. But she would be willing to help if anybody would be inclined to give her a call. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Penny?
Okay, thank you. I think it should be noted that the two people that talked with reference to the nursing homes were people from Dodge County and Sauk County. And these were counties that didn't have a real lot of other nursing homes within their county. And Dodge County, it should be pointed out, was also serviced and taken care of financially by about 3 or 4 of the other adjoining counties, which made it very big. So we didn't really learn a lot from what might apply to our particular situation here at Lakeview Manor. And one thing I wanted to point out, when the one that Don mentioned that got up and gave the speech from out of town at one of the General Assemblies, he's the one that wrote a book on Vince Lombardi, and he said shortly after he had made this book public, somebody came up to him and he said, "How you doing with that book on Guy Lombardo?" I thought that was pretty good. Okay, I guess Dick Rowan, do you want to come up and say a couple words?
Sure. I'm kind of the new guy on the block here, and it was a very interesting, kind of overwhelming almost convention because there's just so many people. I'm not used to being around that many people, and but everybody made you feel welcome, and I enjoyed it very much because it was just a great facility. The General Assemblies were fantastic. Everything was great. I did go to some of the things that I thought was maybe part of the land and water, and one of them was phosphorus compliance, and that was a new law that was signed by Governor Walker, and it talked about how they facilitated the cities have to be in compliance with phosphorus, and the farmers do also have to be in compliance, and it's a trade-off program between the farmers and the cities, and it equates to making it cheaper for the counties, and that's what it really boils down to. I went to the nursing home, and I went to the strategic planning and a couple other. I did spend some time going to committees and meetings, and it was very enjoyable. And I'm following a tough act because these men and women are very good at giving reports, and they did a good job. Thank you.
So did you. You did great. Mary Kay, I guess you're next.
Well, I'll mention we did have a football party. No one's mentioned that. That one of the organizations put on. I did attend similar committee or programs that the rest of the people have mentioned also, and the nursing home meeting, and gathered many points of view from that. Other than that, I attended all of the general sessions, and we didn't win any of the prizes, darn it. But other than that, it was a very good convention and a very good spot to have it.
I thought you won a prize.
Yeah, I won a, what did I win? It was a, it was a leather briefcase type of thing. Yeah. Portfolio, that's the word I thought.
Anything is a
Okay, Joe.
I don't know if everybody can hear me, but
See, he's got a hat, he needs a clown nose, Baraboo Circus. So, you know, Jack and my buddy Gene, they took the caramel corn and Dwayne Featherwoods and the cotton candy, whatever they
Well,
gave.
thank you.
I took the nose for Dick.
Well, thank you. Now, for sure have a red nose.
I don't know if we gave enough credit to David Marinus. What a wonderful speaker. I mean, he held that whole audience in his hand. You could have heard a pin drop. And we talked about Luxembourg and living in Green Bay, the fall of the Vince Lombardi book. Unbelievable. He's written 6 novels. We need to take a look at some of those novels. He was unbelievable. Second thing, that I sent around a yellow sheet in your packet, and it says economic development in Fond du Lac County. I'm a big Mercury Motor guy, and when Mercury Marine almost left Fond du Lac in 2009, the city of Fond du Lac and the county of Fond du Lac rose to the occasion. And this sheet, I'm not going to read it all to you, gives you some ideas of what they did. They ended up keeping 31,000 employees there now. They've got 5 plant additions, and the place is really booming. Brunswick was going to pull Mercury Marine out and take them to Stillwater, Oklahoma. A step further, I'm a one boat guy. Brunswick owned one boats as well as Mercury Marine, so you know where I sit on that topic. The thing that I want to emphasize here that I don't know if it bothers me or not, but I do know we have a 0.5% sales tax, and I do know when we built the courthouse, that's kind of where it came in. And now I understand it's kind of taking care of the jail till 2017, and we never have enough money. And I sure hope there isn't a sunset on this thing. I don't know if everybody feels like me, but we never have enough money to do things. I hope we can keep that sales tax going and utilize it in economic development, just like Fond du Lac County did, to save all those jobs when you look at that. And last but not least, this wasn't there, but early this morning I do things early in the morning. I was listening to American Standard talk on Squawk Box. American Standard competes with Kohler on toilets. Do you realize that there's 650 million people in India alone that do not have bathrooms, that defecate outside in the fields every day? And there's 2.5 billion people in our world that do not have toilets. Interesting. Thank you.
You know, in my observations, I would like to have had a pedometer on Sorensen, Peterson, and Joe for the amount of times they went around the exhibit booths and collected stuff. It built up quite a bit of mileage. Okay, Jerry, I guess you're next.
I have a little comment about Joe. Joe and I were walking down the hall, and he had the rubber nose on, so I kind of found it embarrassing, so I lagged behind a little bit, but these people were laughing, so I suggested to them, I said, he needs help.
Well, yesterday when I got home, my wife said that Jack Penny had called. And I said, well, what is Mr. Penny interested in? Well, she said, there's going to be presentations in front of the county board tomorrow, and he would like you to join in talking about the convention. I said, fair enough. But he had some other things. She said, first of all, he's concerned that don't send any zingers his way. Okay. But then my wife says he thought twice, and he said, but if he has to do some zingers, send him at Keppen. But I'm not going to, Dick. But he ended up with a compliment. He said, because your husband was a teacher, he'll be comfortable talking in front of a group, and he'll also be able to expound much more than I could ever do. Well, Jack, nobody can do that. The convention was good. I'm not sure it is any better than some of the others, but it was good. And you've heard about some of the sessions that we had. I'm going to speak about one that is close to my heart because I chair the Transportation Committee. The session was called Elderly and Disabled Transportation Programs and Funding. Well, obviously, not just in transportation, but in everything, we must find creative and efficient ways of using our dollars. And transportation is no different. But also, any transportation system we set up for our citizens must be user-friendly. Dane County has one access point that people can call in or come in on their computer that will schedule as well as determine eligibility for all the patrons of their system. They use volunteer drivers, as does Waupaca County. And they use these volunteer drivers to get people to their errands, their appointments, and so forth. The list that they gave of uses went on and on. But what I noticed too is they have a special program just for the veterans, to do a little something extra for the veterans to show our Dane County's appreciation. Rides are also provided to get people to employment interviews. So often they found that people that needed employment had a very difficult time to get to those appointments to try to provide a job through their interview. So they have those also. And they also provide rides for Hoover prisoners to get them to their jobs and back. Door County has an entirely different transportation experience. They use numerous county-owned vans and buses. They have defined routes throughout Door County used by seniors, disabled, and the general population. They call this shared rides. All the rides require an advance reservation. One phone number, though, accesses all of these services. Door County says that they give upwards to 60,000 rides per year, and they operate not just 5 days a week, 7 days a week. I have a brochure here that was given out by the person from Door County. And I'm going to just pass this around, and you can look at it as it passes by. The last one they talked about was Rusk County. Rusk County has the oldest transportation system set up for their citizens in the state of Wisconsin, excluding, of course, the metropolitan areas like Milwaukee. They have a unique way of partnering with businesses that are at the end, or are destinations for their riders. This includes product discounts and donations from those businesses to support the program. Well, as you can see, we at Waupaca County have our own transportation system. I think it's working very well. It can always be improved. And these are some of the things that maybe we need to look at to see if something from somewhere else can fit our people. There's a great need for available transportation. The one thing that came across from every county that I spoke to about transportation is that they have a dislike for the maybe space cadets, but they have a dislike for the state-sponsored brokerage firm that was set up for transportation with the counties that is augmented by a contract that was given out by the state. Just when they thought nothing could be worse than logistics care, which we had for 2 to 3 years before they decided they didn't want to be in Wisconsin any longer, just when they thought nothing could be worse, we got MTM, and they're in agreement, it is worse. Something needs to be done at the state level. And I think that if any of you ever have an opportunity to speak to Chairman Keppen, who's in the transportation business, he will mirror those feelings. So the convention was good, but as all of you that went to convention or have gone to convention, you know that some of the best times are meeting your fellow board members from other counties, talking with them, getting ideas, and coming away with a more fuller picture of what's going on in the state of Wisconsin. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Okay, Carl, I guess you're next.
Well, I won two gift certificates down there, a $50 one and a shirt that was too big for me. So I did get a letter from the VA, you know, that they were going to be down there because I'm a veteran, and I really didn't see anything on the agenda with them there, but they might have been down there on some of the stuff. And let's see here. Well, on that transportation thing, voting yes on that, but I guess our guy didn't bring that out by the first of the year. We need probably pass something here for the farmers to get that weight limit up to 92,000 tons when they're hauling their food and waste and that away. You know, I know we don't have too many big farmers in the county, but it does affect some of our side roads a little bit. Yeah, let's see what else. Well, I'd say something on that gal with the, she talked a lot about our funds for see if I find her on here. Yeah, go back to this, these two people are running for district attorney. They sound like very good people, both of them, that Mayor Hump and that Stephen, probably not pronouncing it, spread Schmelz. And I think either one of them will make a good one there. You know, they got up and did a real good talk. So I guess that's about all I had. Everybody else pretty well covered everything. And I know that Packer game was getting kind of bad, so I just went out in the pool. They finally did win that game, no?
Tell them what you won.
Oh, I did.
You did, okay.
I did that.
Okay, I guess that brings us to Donna.
Well, this was my first county convention. I've been to conventions for the real estate group, so this was a little tamer than some of the conventions I was used to. I enjoyed the general session speakers very much. Several of the workshops I sat in on were pretty much just sleeping time for some of the attendees. They really didn't grab and hold your attention. The one I did enjoy was the one Joe talked about, the county role in economic development. And two of the things that struck me that should be pursued if it's not in our county is understanding that not every child graduating from high school is going to be college bound, and that they can make a very good living going out and getting a 2-year degree or less in the technical schools and still make an extremely good living. And I think we should be pursuing that in our high schools, getting these young people that we already know aren't going to go out and get a college education, introduce them to the industry that we have in our county and show them how they can make a good living. By just getting less than a 2-year degree sometimes. That really impressed me, that Racine County was really using that as a stepping stone for these young people, so that they didn't have kids running around wondering, what do I do with myself, and thinking, I don't want to work in a factory, I don't want to do this. Well, show them the number of jobs that are available in a factory scene that can still service them and give them good wages. And another thing I thoroughly enjoyed was the Kalahari had a group of African children that came during one of our lunch hours and sang and played the drums, and Mary Kay and I made a dash with our box lunch over there so that we could hear the little ones sing, and they were just great, just so much fun to watch. So lots of exercise getting to some of the rooms, but but it was great. I think they really need to work on some of their workshops, so that we can come away with some wow factors to come back and say, you know what, we have to take a look at this and start implementing some of it in our county. So, okay, thank you for allowing me to go.
Thank you, Donna. And that brings us to Mr. Republican himself, Freddie.
How come I'm always last?
You're the youngest.
I still got sore knees from all the walking.
Well, I must be the oddball. I think I'm the only one that went to board governance. There was a 101 and a 401, and I just went to the 401. A couple things that were, this was put on by the law firm Borowski, Phyllis Borowski, and I think those guys are sharp. The gist of this was, what are we allowed to do and what shouldn't we do as board members? Whether it be during a meeting, talking to public, and so forth. One thing brought up is that you should have an organizational development committee, which essentially does job descriptions for board members. Duties, responsibilities, do's and don'ts, and so forth. And I thought of you, Dick, there, Mr. Phillips came up and said we got to be proactive rather than reactive, and no micromanaging. Micromanaging is ineffective. We should act as a direct the operations and oversee them as opposed to trying to get our hands in there. However, holding departments accountable is not micromanaging. There should be a partnership developed between the board and the different departments. Let's see. And they went on again, they really emphasized that any organization should not try to micromanage anything, because it's totally ineffective and causes more problems than it could possibly help. The board would define the end results that are wanted, and the management team defines the means and how to get there. And again, always be proactive, and don't get into discussing things that the staff and departments have as their responsibility. The other thing that there was, I made notes on this one. I tried to get an extra copy, I couldn't. Board of Administration responsibilities. This is something that each board member would check off as to what they think they should do. And the other one, I'll give you this, Dick and Mary. County Board Evaluation. This is what different board members would fill out as how they feel, from strongly agree to not sure, as to what their job and responsibilities are, how much information do they have to make decisions, and so forth. Well, this was very well done. Anything that Phyllis Borowski puts on, I think, is very good. Takes care of mine.
Fred, could you right away, as long as you're up there, give a report on the social media that we went to a few weeks ago in Stevens Point as a WCA seminar for most of the day. It was just very, very excellent in some counties that do social media. Eau Claire County's one big one in there, and some of those, in fact, the law firm was there too. at that date.
Yeah, they put that on,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, those guys are really sharp. The social media thing up at Stevens Point, put on by the Wisconsin County Association, the two people there, at the previous one I was talking about, it was, what's Phillips' first name?
Andy.
Andy Phillips. At Stevens Point on the social media, it was Dan Borowski and Chrissy Hamill, one of the other attorneys there. The things I took and I kept condensing this, because I could sit down and talk about this for about 2 hours, but I'd probably lose all my friends that I have, if I have any. But the key thing on the social media, one of the things they put up on the screen, I didn't know there's over 20 different social media things. I mean, I thought there was Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, but there's, I think, 18 more. Some I haven't even heard of. But the key thing is, I'm not aware, is there a lot of people here that have county-provided cell phones? Is there a lot?
For some department heads.
Okay, but and then any laptops that people take home? I guess the key message that was given is there's a distinction between what's private and what you can do with your private smartphone or laptop, what you're allowed to do with a company or a county-provided one. And there's a big need, it was what the message was, that we need to have some kind of social networking policy as to what you're allowed to do on company time and what you're allowed to do on private time. The reason for that is to, and I'll just hit a couple of these things, to stay away from possibly getting into jams with discrimination, harassment, public records, and intellectual property. And the key thing is to put some kind of policy together. There should be communicated very specifically and thoroughly to all employees, and training from the management level on down as to what can and cannot be done. And all these, all social media activity is subject to all county policies, must be communicated. Employees are prohibited from using county names, seal, and trademarks, or making any communication for or on behalf of the county. So I guess if you have a county smartphone or laptop, you can do one thing, but on your own private one, you are not allowed to. And there's so many things that fall between the lines here that it's very important to, I'd imagine we get HR together with legal to put the right thing together so people know exactly what they can and can't do. And best practices under the whole thing is connect the social media policy to all your normal work rules. Get an acknowledgement from employees that they have reviewed the communications policy. And again, this might be micromanaging, but considering whether to monitor sites, and if so, greatly limit the when, the how, and the what, to what extent. And with all the different varieties of electronic communication, and there's so many blurred lines, you may have a company smartphone, you might have your own. What can use where and when. So that should be clearly defined so everyone knows what is allowed and what isn't allowed. And there was a law passed last April, Wisconsin Social Media Protection Act, which related to internet privacy. In other words, in Wisconsin, it's basically said an employer cannot ask for your personal internet identification or passwords. Yeah, I think the clear message from the law firm was that there isn't a lot of case law on social media because it's relatively new, probably really it's proliferated in the last 3 to 5 years. So they did not cite anything real specific with which somebody could stand on. And again, I'm condensing and condensing. Another couple key points: you need to balance the employer concerns with the privacy rights of the individuals. And planning the investigation before taking any action. And the one I check mark, consult counsel before moving forward with any action plans to establish something. On the other side of the coin, there's 2 counties that use social media quite effective. Jefferson County has a regular Facebook page, and Brown County Emergency Management uses Twitter, which I found quite interesting. I don't do anything with Twitter, but I do have Facebook and LinkedIn. So I guess it's a concern out there, and I think it's something that's going to have to be addressed soon, because it's it's just going to get bigger and bigger. And like I said, there's 20 different, more than 20 they put up there, different social media outlets. And I wasn't even aware there was more than 2 or 3. So, but it's very good. The full thing is available at the WCA website, and also the Phil Sparowski website has some more data and information on social media.
Thank you, Fred. Before I call Dwayne up, there's one very important thing that I wanted to mention that is important to all of us here on our Waupaca County Board. And I went to a county organizational meeting where they went through Chapter 59. Andy, our attorney, was the main speaker here. And it's surprising to know that within the state of Wisconsin, there are 11 elected county executives. It used to be a number of years back that the only counties that could have county executives were counties that had over 500,000 population, and that was only Milwaukee County, so they changed it. Now anybody can have one. And there are 11 within our state of Wisconsin that fall under that category. And these county executives they're very powerful personnel. They're elected, they're salaried, they run on 4-year terms, and they can just about run the roost, and the only way they can be voted down is on a 2/3 vote from the majority of the county boards. And this is very important and something that we don't ever want to get involved in. And secondly, there are 23 that have appointed county administrators. Here again, this is another person that we as a county would hire to take care of all the matters that pertain to all the departments in our county. He again would prepare the budgets and things like that, and this is something that we have avoided. So that leaves us with 38 counties that have an administrative coordinator, and that's what we have here in Waupaca County. And we're so very, very fortunate to have a county administrator, coordinator, and that's the lady that's sitting to the left of our county board chairman, Mary Robbins. And Mary just does a beautiful job for us. And this is not an easy job. She alone, with this position, not having nothing to do with the county clerk's business, she has to take care of all the correspondence that comes from the state of Wisconsin, no matter what it might be. She's the one where the buck stops. And along with that, the coordination that she has with our county board chairman, if it wasn't for him, we'd be in the same problem. You can't imagine the amount of time that this man spends at the courthouse, that he doesn't have to be here, but he does for business that that you can't conceive. So we are here in Waupaca County so very, very fortunate to have Mary and Dick Keppen taking care of this sort of business that our county requires. So with that, I didn't mean to steal your thunder here, Dwayne, but you're next. Sorry to keep this on.
Thanks, Jack. A little over a week ago, I got an email from Mary, and it says our chairman wanted to have us say something that we learned at the convention. And I wrote back to Mary, I said, can I report on the nightlife of the remaining of my colleagues? And she didn't think that was a good idea. Anyway, I would like to thank Mr. Keppen, our chairman, for permitting me to fill in for him at the voting of the WCA annual business meeting. The meeting was called to order by the current WCA president, which is Marty Krieger from Sauk County. There were 15 resolutions that were before us that were presented from the resolution committee. I'm not going to go over those, otherwise we would certainly not be liking to sit through that. However, these resolutions were interesting in that all of them were such that either the resolution committee had recommended to indefinitely postpone them or to approve them, and they were sent in by different counties. So when the roll call was taken, there were all the counties, the 72 counties were present other than 7. 7 counties were not present for the voting. I just want to mention a few things before I just mention one resolution here about the WCA and things that our chairman has said in the past, but just to reiterate. First of all, there has been no rate increases in county dues since 2002. The association has over $3.6 million in assets. They were able to decrease the cost of the rent of our facilities down there in Madison as a result of the market by 25%, which means they were really overpaying Dick before that. But it also requires an outside audit every 5 years. The other years, an internal audit committee handles it. The chairman, as you know, is elected new each year. Now, Marty Krieger took a few minutes to address that issue, and it's probably brought up, Dick, even when you were there. He doesn't know where it's going to go or if it's going to go anywhere, but he believes, probably like you did, 1 year is a very short time to get acquainted, to even get up to speed, and by that time you're over with. I don't know what's going to happen, but he did bring that up as a side note. He also brought up about the IT initiative of counties joining up over sharing of software and other things, and this process has been going very slow. And as Dick has mentioned once before, all 72 counties are WCA paying members at this time. The only resolution that was somewhat controversial, it came down to, we actually had a hand vote, and I think the votes were different only by 10. And that had to do with the one that where the Supreme Court, some of you remember here a few months back, ruled that there is unlimited funding for elections. And a lot of them believe that you should be a person instead of company and money behind funding all the elections throughout the world in the United States. But the Supreme Court saw that differently. But anyway, that one did pass to, as was recommended, to indefinitely postpone any action since the Supreme Court dealt with it, but that was only by 10 votes. And also for those that want to know, our new president for 2015, or this next year here, is Willie Johnson Jr. from Milwaukee. Was elected, and he is the first African American to hold this position for WCA. I attended some workshops, and I'm just going to go through them real quickly. I did attend some that were mentioned before, the effective juvenile
justice programming. I also attended the one, how to keep your county nursing home healthy, diversification and sustainability. And then I did attend the last two, being from probably my business background and finance, I like to learn as much as I can. Can we afford not to use a performance-based model in evaluating and compensating our workforce? And I believe what I come out of that was, even though we had a different consultant with Charlie Carlson, the ones that did their presentation up in Chippewa Falls, had an excellent person too. And I guess my take from that is that we're not far off from what they're doing there. There's a few things I brought back that I'll probably mention to Mandy along the way. And the last one I attended was the county budgeting, the 401. It was more a sophisticated budgeting process, and this was based off of Waukesha County, one of the larger counties financially. And their director did something that I thought was maybe something, I don't know, I mentioned this to Heidi along the way. I'm not sure if it can be done here, but I think if it could be, there's some more savings. They went to work and were able to secure not only the county, but also the city of Waukesha and the school district. All three of them ended up going and agreeing on getting the same insurance carrier. In other words, they had the power now of all these employees from the three municipalities, and they had 8 companies bid on their insurance program, and they saved $1.6 million by doing it. I thought it was, I don't know if we can pull it off here, but it sounds like a good idea. Other than that, thank you.
Thank you, Dwayne, very much. And we have Clerk Robbins. No, you go up there, please.
Yes, sir. I was trying to save some time. The Wisconsin County Clerks Association meets at the same time as the Wisconsin Counties Association, and I think our main job there is to kind of watch the supervisors, make sure they stay out of trouble. I'm just saying. We had a good group here. Of course, Chairman Keppen wasn't able to join them, so my work was a little bit less. But what our Clerks Association had a very, very busy 2 days too. Our first session was Dan Hill. I think some of you have been to his presentations on the open meetings law and open records. And I was kind of proud that most of what we've got in place, we do well, and we do more than what the other county clerks around the state of Wisconsin do with keeping our agendas and our minutes to the county clerk's office, making sure that they're posted legally, and all of that. The other parts were devoted to our marriage license. They're going to be going online on the web soon in 2015. They've had a big changeover at the Vital Records office, as Mike Mazemke noted, with they're kind of in flux. They couldn't really answer a lot of things, but also the same-sex marriage license is in the courts now, and a judge has ruled that it's unconstitutional to deny them a marriage license, but that has been stayed, so we're still waiting for word on that, and that the Vital Records isn't really prepared yet this time because, of course, they're relying on their legal counsel, and legal counsel is waiting on the courts, and so it's going to be a while, but that's what's out there right now. The other big issue that we're having, and that I do need people to be aware of, that for the November 4th election, the voter photo ID requirement has been reinstated. The 7th Circuit Court of Appeals reinstated the requirement that most Wisconsin voters present photo identification in order to cast a ballot for the November 4th, 2014 election. The only exemptions to that are the military, your permanent overseas voters, and any indefinitely confined voters. But otherwise, you will have to present your photo ID. So that took up most of our day discussing that, and it is in the courts too, so we're busy trying to present trainings to all of our clerks out there. The ballots have already been out, and there's issues out there on they're challenging the ballot style. So who knows if within the next month or so it'll totally be different again. But that's a lawyer's dream. The Court of Appeals are settling everything, so we'll let you know more. But right now, as it stands, photo ID will be required. So that's kind of what I did. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mary, for your report, and I realize you were working when you were there.
Yeah, it's not just all hard work.
I want to thank you, Jack, for being the moderator and having everyone, all you participants, come up here and speak. You know, we like to have not everyone get up when we go to two different conferences, but I thought this was great since this was a big conference. But when we do go to seminars, I'm going to ask one of you to get up and talk about what you've learned, what you saw, and maybe educate us back here too. I know we're running really late because we have a human resource meeting at 10:30, which we're an hour late. But my report will be very short. This is the first WCA conference I missed in 12 years, and I was really antsy all weekend. I was antsy Monday thinking about you guys and girls and just being at this great conference. Like you say, you meet friends, you meet other supervisors, you meet staff, WCA staff. In fact, when I called him 2 weeks ago and said I didn't think I could make it, I told Mark O'Connell at our insurance corp meeting, and then he had someone call and said they could supply me with a motorized cart. Well, for crying out loud, with my luck, I'd have run somebody over in the hallway, and then I would still be in Dane County or down in Sauk County Jail or something. So I decided not to go. Why didn't I go really quickly? People have been asking me. I had a fusion in my back, and that's 3/4 healed, and that's not the problem. I had a bad hip before that, and since my surgery, I'm walking different. My hip has really gone bad now. In fact, I was at my neurosurgeon yesterday. He advised me to get that hip fixed as soon as I can because it's monkeying around with the back I had repaired. So I plan on doing that after our budget is done here in November. And I guess it's a quick recovery. Is it like 5 to 10 days you're back at it? I hear. I don't know. But with that being said, people have been asking me, and that's why I didn't go. Great to see Vice Chair here. Gary, do you have anything to report or saying? Because people do ask me about you, Gary, because we all love you.
Thank you. First off, I want to thank you all for your cards and letters and prayers. It really helped. I have a stack that thick, and I go back over them, and it just makes me feel so good to know that you care. You know, it helps. I'm not out of the woods. I go to Chicago tomorrow. I'm almost out of the woods, but not quite. We're doing some experimental things. I just go down there for a day. It won't be the longest period of my life ever, and that includes my time as a sailor. It was 35 days in a hospital in Madison. I don't know how many of you people have ever endured that, but it's after the third day, it's a long time, but it helped. So again, thank you. Your prayers, your cards, your words of encouragement go a long way. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. And I was complaining about 7 days in a nursing home. Why? Gary, you're a trooper. The next item on the agenda is ordinances and amendments to General Code of Ordinances, A 2014-559, amendment to Chapter 34, Z-011-14, Town of Waupaca, James E. Bussey, Jr., AWT to AR District.
I think that says it also. Go for a motion.
Is there a motion for approval? There's a motion by Supervisor Craig and a second by Supervisor Jonley. Any questions or discussion? Please vote.
Last chance to vote. Motion carries 25-0.
Announcements and correspondence. Mary, anything that we need to, you've got them listed here.
Yeah, and I do have one, I think I will make copies and send this with the next packet too, but the NACO, National Association of Counties, as president of the National Association of Counties, it is my pleasure to confirm your nomination to Mary Kay Pullman as a member of the Human Services and Education Steering Committee for the 2014-2015 term. We are excited to have you as part of the team. So I will include that. I thought I had given it to the executive committee, but I couldn't find it in my packet. So I'll be sure and make sure that you all get a copy of this. And you have a lot of things on your desk too. The new rule, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, those are what you amended before. So replace your old ones with that.
And that comes to the end. I do want to thank staff that attends these meetings. I think it's very important. You do when you can. Sometimes you can't. It's always great to see staff back there. With that, I'd seek a motion for adjournment. There's a motion by Supervisor McClone and a second by Hendrick to adjourn. Please vote.
Could I enlist some gentlemen to help reorganize our tables back there, please? Last chance to vote. Motion carries 25-0. We have a Finance and Human Resources Committee.
Oh, that's real qualified.